Folks, this is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I am once again simulcasting on Rumble and Utizzle, and I appreciate everyone who's joining me tonight. And I hate to be pushy, but make sure you hit that like button when you come in. Helps the video to get around. But anyway, so here we are at a crossroads in history, and as a matter of fact, Donald J. Trump is making his own roads in history, and we're along for the ride. So we got a lot to talk about. And what do I do while I'm getting ready for people to come in to settle into the chats? I play some videos and give people time to get themselves a cup of coffee, a cold brew hot, or a glass of wine, maybe, or any adult libation, or even a yoo-hoo, whatever you want. But anyway, I'll play these videos, and then we shall be like butter and get on a roll.
My name is Brian McCaffrey. I'm a registered Democrat in the city of Philadelphia. Today, I'm at the Philadelphia Convention Center, and I am overseeing the ballot counters. I will let you know the corruption that is going on here. They will not allow us within 30 to 100 feet to supervise the ballots being counted. This is a coup against the President of the United States of America, and I want to call out the Mayor of Philadelphia, James Kenney, the Attorney General, Josh Shapiro, who tweeted that there's no way Donald Trump can win President of the United States of America, and also the District Attorney of Philadelphia, Larry Krasner. I can't believe what I'm seeing right before my eyes. This has nothing to do with Joe Biden or Donald Trump. This has to do with our democracy, and I will tell you, there is corruption at the highest level in the city of Philadelphia.
So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
Dust on my Bible, flags on the line. You laughed at our warnings, called truth a crime. You sold us your secrets, wrapped up like hope. Signed all our futures with a poison note. You sat in your mansions, we prayed in the rain. You cast every favor on a ledger of pain. You thought you were covered, names on a list, private plain pages you swore don't exist. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you're done. Thought you hid in the shadows, but we watched every run. You sold out your own people, every promise a lie. Now the truth hits different with the world looking right in your eyes. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you lose. Treason don't pay well when the light cuts through. God on our side and he's right on time. When the judge walks in, every bell gon' chime. Game over. You thought she was certain, thought he was too. Shook hands in the back room, said they'll never break through. You mocked every farmer, every steel-toed boo. Called them crazy and bitter while you buried the proof. Now screens start flashing, whole names, young kids, whole world scrolling through the things y'all did. Digital soldiers from the cornfields to Rome say leave our children alone or we're taking you home. Let's go! Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you're done. Thought you hid in the shadows, but we watched every run. You sold out your own people, every promise a lie. Now the truth hits different with the world looking right in your eyes. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you lose. Treason don't pay well when the light cuts through. God on our side and he's right on time. When the judge walks in, every bell gon' chime. From the back roads to the big tall towers, Patriots worldwide, this the final hour. You can beg, you can bargain, you can scream, you can hide, but the book's been written and your name's inside. Tick-tock, time. you hid in the shadows, but we watched every run. You sold out your own people, every promise a lie. Now the truth hits different with the world looking right in your eyes. Tick-tock, time's up, game over, you lose. Treason don't pay well when the light cuts through. God on our side and he's right on time. Nothing's gonna stop what's already signed. Game over.
Storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about. They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined. Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he perceives as enemies.
Put them where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate it so much, and I hope you all are doing well. Let me get this off the screen so you can see they can't ignore anymore. That is the fake news, one of their many powers that they have, the power to ignore. Well, they can't do it anymore. Hi, Sissy. How you doing? MS Motorsports. Nice to see you. Who else is coming in here? Tammy's here. Cole's here. Miss Mendersu with a lot of booms. Let me get my boom. Wait a minute. Where's my boom? Ha ha ha. She hit the boom with buy me a coffee. Where's Pappy Two Bears? I want to, pow. I want to thank, Wayne and Younger Gang for starting off the week this week. And, you know, at the end of the month, it's hard to remember that the month is over 28th day. I didn't give enough shout outs to the people that helped me close out last week, which was Pappy Two Bears and me, Kennedy. Where are you all? Brett, how are you doing? Sissy, nice to see you. Awaken Trillium is here. Who else is here? Elva's here. Rain's here. Ha ha. Let me see. We're going right down the line. See who all's coming to see me. There we go. Almost put you on the screen by accident, Linda. My finger got stuck. I gotta crack my knuckle or something. Where was I at? What did I say? You got a lot of bone cracking to do when you get older. Mark, how you doing? Kim's here. Oh, man, you went to the grocery store, now you're broke. Well, things will turn around. The best is yet to come, even though I put in my title. Hi, Tammy. The worst is yet to come, but not for us. For the mullahs, what's left of them. I don't know how many mullahs are left, but there's a power vacuum in Iran. There's going to be internecine fighting back and forth between them, and we got to figure out who's going to come out on top. So we will find out. Somebody will come out on top. It's a very dangerous time to be it's always a dangerous time to be a reformist in Iran. But now, if you're truly looking to do what's best for your people, best for civilization as a whole, and come to some kind of terms, not only with the United States, but all your Gulf state neighbors. Remember the video that I put up that said, is it going to be Persia or pariah? I did a video on that 6 months ago or more. Persia or pariah? Will they be a pariah state? And it looks like their final orders is what they say they're operating on. If anything happens to us, this is your final orders. And that's what they're doing. They're attacking countries that had no dog in the fight. They're attacking indiscriminately as to draw in as many people as possible. And it shows you that their offensive capabilities greatly degraded, and the media can't stand it. There you go. Who is this person? I got this from Adam Francisco. I had some pictures of nasty-looking liberals I used to put on the screen. A lady standing on a bridge looking down at people, already a lady with the same look on her face. Liberals, when they're watching other people have a good time. And he got this one, Trump voters dancing in the streets, Venezuelans dancing in the streets, Iranians dancing in the streets, and there they are. I'm going to leave that up there just so you know what you're dealing with. That's a member of the media. A member of the media. And they had that power to just ignore. And if they ignore it and they don't report it, it never happened, right? Never happened. Pappy, how you doing? I just gave you a shout out for helping close out last week on Buy Me a Coffee, along with me, Kennedy, and all the other people that helped out last week. Miss Venderson was one, and she put a bunch of booms in today. And Colette, and Mike and Bev, Roland, Brush, and Wayne also helped this week too. Started me off this week with Buy Me a Coffee. Wayne and Younger Gang. So I do appreciate it. I want to make sure I let people know that, whoa, what did I do? There we go. Let people know that it's important because this is a viewer-supported channel only. Isn't that something? What if I did get monetized? What do you think it would be like? Mountain, how you doing? No, that's me. I just put a link in the description. I mean, in the chat, at the 13-minute mark. I thought it was Mountain coming in. It was me. Ha, ha, ha. I'm not even drinking. Have to start doing that, I guess. Get famous like all these other characters. But anyway. So, I guess you all heard that a couple of our F-15s got shot down in Kuwait. And I was, there's Wayne. Yeah, I just gave you out shout outs. Appreciate everything. Really do. I was thinking about using this as my thumbnail. Friend or foe? There's a pilot that got shot down over Kuwait, and this guy's coming up with a stick. And of course, most people helped out. This guy, once he found out who it was, he laid off. You know, he helped. But the local Kuwaitis mistook the ejected American for a downed Iranian pilot and went to capture him with sticks. So what did Trump say? What people would do in the old days if the border was being overrun like it is now, they'd be fighting off with sticks and stones. Remember that? And yeah, he's right. I'm ready to throw down. If they need me, I go up there, do what I can, wave a stick around, get the hell out of here. But anyway, the thumbnail I showed you was where I had the video last night, where some Iranian expatriates were dancing to YMCA. Well, yeah, Pappy. They said I saw two reports. They said the Kuwaitis shot it down, and then later somebody came out. Hi, Darla. Somebody came out and said that the battery that shot them down was manned by American troops. So we had a lot of cleaning up to do in our armed forces. You know what I'm saying? I'll wait till they do an investigation. But thankfully, no one lost their lives over it or got injured badly. So, yeah, we'll get to the bottom of it. Was it poor training and somebody in a DEI position that had not yet been flushed out on our own side? Or was it a Kuwaiti that wasn't trained properly? This is a young lady that I could tell the second I saw that image that far away that it was a female pilot before I ever knew there was a female pilot involved. But you'll hear this Kuwaiti come up and he's assuring her she's safe. Don't worry, you're safe. So apparently they saw the other episode with the guy with a stick. Anyway.
You're fine? Really? You need something to help you? No problem, you're safe. You're safe, you're safe. Everything good? No problem. Thank you for helping us. Everything perfect?
She's kind of stunned. She didn't know what to say. What happened? What happened? So anyway, like I said, thankfully they're all right. Who is this guy? Is this Jonathan Carl? Is that his name? I had another clip from him earlier in the week. I didn't get a chance to play, but I played one before where he said he gave an accurate report of the meeting with Trump, and I said, "Yeah, it's Jonathan Carl. That's his name." And Citizen Free Press said Jonathan Carl is acting like a journalist for once. So I don't know. He seems to be continuing to do so.
I just spoke to President Trump for several minutes about Iran. I asked him about who is going to take over now that the Ayatollah, the supreme leader, is gone. And his answer was interesting. He said the attack was so successful it knocked out most of the candidates. He told me it's not going to be anybody that we were thinking of because they are all dead. I talked to him about the fact that the Iranians had tried to kill him. There was a plot in 2024, an Iranian plot to try to kill Trump. And he said of the Ayatollah, I got him before he got me. They tried twice. Well, I got him first. As for how long the war will go on, the president told me he always thought it was going to be a 4 or 5 week deal. That's what he told me, a 4 or 5 week operation. He said it could be shorter, and he was prepared to go longer. And about the 3 Americans who were killed, the president said it's war and you have casualties in war. He marveled at the fact that with all the operations he has conducted as president in Venezuela, the one last summer in Iran, and this one, that the total casualty count, American casualties, is 3. That's a quick summary of a rather lengthy conversation with President Trump tonight.
Now we know that that's been upped since this report was filed. One of the injured passed away, and they found the bodies of 2 more who were unaccounted for. So it's 6. Yeah, Lori. Hi, Lori. How you doing? The total is 6. Hi, Audrey. Nice to see you. Randy, nice to see you. Who else slipped in here? Anybody slip in here? I don't have the eagle eye while I'm talking. Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. Oh, no, that's a bizarre take, Audrey. So, but Audrey, you're welcome to stay here, and hopefully you'll make a friend. But you'll see a lot of things that you hear, and in other videos that you won't see elsewhere. And we're down with what happened on J and then 6, and we know there were a lot of people involved that were government agents, and the S3 actual abuse. See, you can't put those words in because of it's not me, Audrey. It's the trust and safety, or what is it? Yeah, trust and safety for YouTube. You can't put like SEX in the chats. So anyway, just stick with us because you'll find out some things that will open your eyes up. There were a lot of people framed on that day. They were wanting to be heard. They were protesting. They were invited in. They didn't break a daggone thing. They didn't break anything. And they ended up going to jail. Their lives were ruined. And as far as the S3 actual, see, I say it that way, case against Trump, that was fabricated. I believe the judge that was in charge of that case is going to be removed from the bench for abusing his powers. They took a 30-year-old case and they twisted the law. And they deprived Donald Trump of his rights to defend himself. And against a woman who just was dreaming it up. And anyway, so Trump is not the way you have had him framed to you. He's a patriot. He's risked his life. He's risked his family's safety and well-being to try to get our country away from powers that have been oppressing us for centuries. I've got a longer clip, but here is Bill Clinton. Now, I'll tell you what the news did. Are you still here, Audrey, or am I talking to the wind? I'm going to say one of the biggest examples of the media setting a narrative and having the right to ignore was that almost everyone you talk to about Bill Clinton and his impeachment, they say it was all about him fooling around in the Oval Office. We shouldn't impeach a president for fooling around in the Oval Office. That is not what it was. It was when he committed a criminal act by dropping his trousers when he was a governor in a state in front of a state employee and told that state employee to kiss it. He belongs on a registry for offenders. That is what he was getting impeached over, not Monica Lewinsky. Are you still there, Audrey? But the media pounded in and pounded in and pounded in Monica Lewinsky, Monica Lewinsky. That wasn't it. He's lucky somebody's husband didn't knock his head off his shoulders, governor or no governor, or a father. And anyway, he owed Paula Jones $900,000, and he lost his law license. A Democrat judge took his law license. That is the historical fact. So Trump didn't do anything close to that. But anyway, here's Clinton in his own words about Trump.
I hate this, but because I don't believe I should inject anything. But I do not want to leave the impression, but since there was no follow-up question, the president never, this is 20-something years ago, never said anything to me to make me think he was involved in anything improper with regard to Epstein either. He just didn't. That's the truth. As I said earlier, the only conversation I had with President Trump about this was in the early 2000s. And I have no information that he did anything wrong. I just want it all out there. I want everybody to get it all out there and let everybody see where we are.
Now, if he knew anything that Epstein had done, if he'd have known about it, he would have said something. He would have stepped in. He'd have put a stop to it. Don't you know? Bill Clinton, he don't put up with that kind of treatment of women. Everybody knows that. He's an ultimate gentleman. Hi, Todd. How you doing? Yeah, Audrey, yeah. She came in once for, yeah, she's welcome in here. And like I said, it's something to talk about. But people have to watch when they turn into a parrot, when they just parrot talking points that are false, painting everyone who went to the march on January and then 6th. Hi, EDK, how you doing? Painting them all as insurrectionists and that they deserve to have their lives destroyed. Grandmothers with cancer going to jail. It's insane. So you don't want to be repeating lies. Saying lies is bad enough, but repeating them is worse. And I got a longer clip of Clinton I'll play, but you got Hillary in hysterics. And I could have got a clip of her talking about when they said, oh, we found out a picture was leaked of this hearing. And she said, well, you can charge me with contempt if you want. I'm not putting up with this. Like I said, they grab at any straw, any inferred act of dishonesty, they'll magnify it. So that's why I was, I maybe had some people a little mad at me for getting on Lauren Boebert and Benny Johnson. But, they really, need to grow the hell up. It's serious stuff. Mr. Kibler, how you doing? Yeah, Bill's got the shakes. He's probably got a lot more than shakes. Probably got a bad case of A, I, and what's that other letter? D, yeah, S is probably what he's got. So, anyway, where's that clip of Hillary? Where's she, I've seen a couple of, here she is. What is this email about here? Oh, her and Howard Lutnick. Of course, it's a little too fuzzy for this purpose, but this is, she was emailing Howard Lutnick. She knew Howard Lutnick. And what she does here, she's going through this historic deposition. And all of a sudden she goes on a poor us during 9/11 and how we tried to protect the country and soothe the country from 9/11, the lives that were lost, blah, 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 taking up all the time. Hey, like you're the only one who went through 9/11? You're the only one who's traumatized through 9/11? But she doesn't want to answer the question about Howard Lutnick. And when she gets confronted, she acts cuckoo.
Very much about at all.
And then how do you know Howard Lutnick?
I know Howard Lutnick because when I was senator on 9/11, the firm he headed, Cantor Fitzgerald, suffered the greatest loss of life. As I recall, something like 650 of his employees were murdered by terrorists that day. Howard Lutnick missed being a victim because he was delayed dropping his child off to kindergarten. You asked the question. I'm going to answer your question.
Now you're going to
This
yell at
was
me?
what I spent
You're
my
going to yell at
time
me.
doing.
I'm a survivor trying to look out for other survivors, trying to
and
get to the
I
bottom
was
of it.
taking care
You
of
waited
the
6
people
months
who
to
lost
get here today.
3,000
6 months,
lives
and now you're being
at World
defiant
Trade
and
Center.
indignant today.
You asked me
I
about
have met
Howard
with Epstein
Lutnick.
survivors. I'm a survivor myself. You have emails. You've denied that Jeffrey Epstein, that you tried to get Jeffrey Epstein to give money to you.
I did not.
Howard Lutnick was
If
used
you
to
have an
get
email
money.
with me asking Jeffrey Epstein for money.
I have an email from Howard Lutnick sending it to Jeffrey Epstein and his people to
I
raise
don't-
money for
I don't
you
know about-
for an event, an intimate event for you at his offices
Well,
at Cantor Fitzgerald. You're
look,
going to sit
if
here
you-
today
if you would
and,
let me
and,
finish.
and obfuscate and say to this committee, you didn't try to get money from Jeffrey
I
Epstein
didn't.
when
I
there was
didn't.
an intimate event in an email that Howard Lutnick emailed to Epstein's people and Epstein to get him to come to your intimate event at Cantor Fitzgerald, a very small event. And so I'm not going to put it. You want to yell at me, that's fine, but I'll yell right back.
Well,
okay? I am looking out for
it's
survivors.
very-
I'm doing
look.
the job that you would not do and refuse to do as Secretary of State. Thank you, and I yield back to
No,
Congresswoman.
I'm going to finish.
So we'll get to see all of that stuff. But yeah, you get asked a question about a serious question about Howard Lutnick. They're going to be trying to get into this Clinton Foundation money, Clinton Initiative cash that disappeared, Haiti cash, what role Epstein played, what role J.P. Morgan played, and she wants to go down memory lane with September 11th. Everybody sit there and listen to her give a drama spiel about 9/11 when most everybody in the chats knows where they were that minute and that hour and that day. Like she's the only one. We're all supposed to say, oh, yeah, 9/11. Just forget all this, Hillary. We didn't mean to upset you. You can go now. So, hi, Greg. How you doing? Sparky. Yeah, she's a sociopath. She's a lot more than that. A lot more than that. But anyway, whoa. I got a sensitive screen tonight. Got to be careful. So, a lot going on. Let's see. I'll get to this in a minute. But I'll put this up. Donald Trump posted this today. All the stuff going on. All the stuff going on. How many times have you all heard me talk about Richard Nixon and the silent coup? Okay. The dynamics after the Kennedy assassination and the remnants of that administration being stewarded by Johnson, who was evil individual, and then you got Nixon. They hadn't figured out how to rig elections like they have now, and they couldn't stop Nixon, and then they couldn't stop Reagan. But that's how we ended up with Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter is the genesis of all this crap we're dealing with now. Iran, running amok, Middle East terror. Fascinating piece appearing in an unlikely venue. This is from Jeffrey Tucker, reposted by Donald Trump. TDLR. Nixon was the victim of a deep state plot so complex and enormous he could not fathom it. Trump is smarter, purging his enemies before they purge him. Yeah. There's a reason Trump has Richard Nixon's letter to him on his wall in the Oval Office. And we will get a measure of retribution for what they did. Richard Nixon was like every other man walking the face of the earth. He wasn't a perfect man. But everybody goes, oh, Richard Nixon, oh, hold their nose and say he was such a vile person. He had an enemies list. He had a list of people who were treating him like crap in his desk, and he had that list because he wasn't going to forget him. What a hit list. But somebody tell me the crime he committed. Somebody tell me what he did. What he did. Other than get put in the paper day after day after day after day over break-in he had nothing to do with. And word on the street is now that the Watergate break-in was one of the reasons where they were going to get compromised videos of people engaged in activities. They were being bribed, a la the Epstein situation. So, anyway, I found it interesting that Trump posted that today. Here's a good one. For my next trick, I'll make Democrats defend the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism. Put that in your meta page. How many things have we had the Democrats jump up and defend, making themselves look like exactly what they are? Now, a bunch of knee-jerk nitwits. Knee-jerk nitwits that buy a narrative hook, line, and sinker and then repeat it hook, line, and sinker. What, I don't know. I'm going to play this Tucker Carlson video in a minute. But anyway, I want to remind everybody of this. You got France coming in saying they're going to help out now. You got Britain coming in, UK, coming in. They're going to help out now. And then you've got Germany. Now they want to help out, okay? But they turn their nose up at us. Well, this is a reminder. This is the UN saying they were running out of money. They're going to go broke soon.
The Secretary General has, as you know, repeatedly made clear the problem both of non-payment of Jews by member states and the related problem of the UN being forced to repay member states for budget expenses that it does not budget money that it does not spend, so those two factors have put us on an unsustainable trajectory. Although more than 150 member states paid their dues last year, we ended 2025 with a record $1.56 billion in outstanding dues, which is more than double that of the previous year. So unless either the payments come in or we're not compelled to spend, to return the monies that we are not able to spend because we didn't receive the budget, unless one of those two things happen, we face a real danger of running out of money.
Yeah, you face a real danger out of running out of money. But what did Trump say? That they should be defending our borders like our treaty and the UN Charter says. They're supposed to help us. They're supposed to defray the costs of defending our border from this invasion. This invasion that occurred from a stolen election. Many of the countries I've talked about had knowledge of it. Had knowledge, and some had participated in the overthrow of our government by creating the Russia hoax, the Steele dossier, perpetuating and helping create. And now, when we're confronting a threat, they bail on us. Well, they got their cage rattled and they're changing their tune. Now you know why Keir Starmer was shaking in his boots. And what else was going to happen? What else was going to happen and happened today? as a matter of fact. Historic. Melania Trump to take the gavel at UN Security Council in historic first. Melania Trump set to make history as the first lady to preside over the United Nations Security Council with a speech focused on peace through education. Fox News Digital. Well, in order to have education, you can't have a captured news organizations. You have to educate the public on accurate information of what's happening in the world. And one of the bits of information they're leaving out is that the UN has been ripping us off for decades and decades, and that they're not living up to their obligations to our border security, our election security. And when we have a need to remove a mortal threat like these mullahs in Iran, they turn their backs on us. Well, the day before Melania goes in there, France, UK, and Germany, they're going to help with what's going on in Iran. Before that, they gave us the finger. So somebody got their cage rattled, along with the money end of it. Hi, Larry, how you doing? Along with the money end of it. Because we've been damaged. That's one of the most powerful words in the legal profession. I've suffered damages. That makes an attorney's eyebrows go up in the air. Because what do you do when there's damages? You get a remedy or retribution. So somebody owes us. A lot of people owe us as a nation. It's time to collect. Time to collect. Yeah, Johnson was a clown. He got intimidated. Yeah, Larry, Nixon with the opening up China, that was all during the Watergate investigation. I think that was a complex situation. Opening up China, Nixon allowed them to participate in our markets. And after Reagan is when they started the real abuses with their trade practices. Like I said, under Reagan, China would have never made publicly known their one-child policy. You could have one child, and that's it. Nationwide. They'd have never got away with that with Reagan. And after Reagan got out, well, that was the policy. People were drowning their kids out in rice paddy because they didn't want to get fined or get in trouble. And if they had a daughter and a son came after, they kept the son, and the daughter disappeared, if you know what I mean. It was a demonic, sick system. So then you end up with a bunch of young men running around and nobody to marry. You had human beings sleeping with dolls. Did you see that little, who was that little monkey that's running around dragging a doll around? What's the name of that little monkey everybody was talking about? Boom Boom or something like that? What was his name? Bong Bong? Anyway, you had millions of people sleeping with dolls because there were nobody could find a wife. That is a totalitarian system for you. Anyway, this is something I had up yesterday. My gosh, I'm 45 minutes in already. I'll play this video. I want to show you something else in a second. This is a video about We have other things besides Iran, of course. And Trump can take care of multiple things, as we know. Oh, yeah, Mr. T's going to get us back on the gold standard, gold and silver, precious metals. Okay? But anyway, I wanted to play this. I thought about playing some intro, but anyway, y'all keep up with Laura Logan because she's got a lot of good subjects she talks about. One of them is the fentanyl thing. How our country has made it this far. Trump is not exaggerating by saying we were getting ready to lose it all. Having hundreds of billions of dollars shipped off to God knows where, with Somalis, with Obama loading it up on planes, sending it to Iran, and cartels waging chemical warfare on us, twisting the minds. Most of the people that are laying around in tents and going to the bathroom in the streets, they're drug addicts. How we've survived this, and the people who are productive and trying to live normal lives, they tax their eyeballs out of their heads and try to think of ways. How can we make sure they can't have gas stoves? How can we make sure they can't have fireplaces anymore? How can we make sure they can't mow their yard unless they buy an electric lawnmower? Then we'll be like Virginia and tax electric lawn care equipment. Just on and on and on. How we survived, I got no idea.
Nobody tells you.
Yeah.
They created the demand to all of the narrative that all of your viewers have heard for how long. If you just didn't have such a drug problem in the United States and a craving for it, well, we didn't have a fentanyl crisis in this country, did we? I've worked narcotics since 1997 with the Hays County Sheriff's Office. I never even heard of fentanyl. And I guarantee most of the viewers hadn't either. And still to this day, most don't even know about parafentanyl or carfentanyl, also known as serafentanyl. So what's the why to that? Let me validate. We saw where the Mexicans took over the methamphetamine market in 2004, created the mega labs for methamphetamine production in Mexico, began taking over that. And you know what they were doing in Houston, Texas? I was with the methamphetamine unit of what they would call HIDA, high intensity drug trafficking group out of Houston, Texas. They were giving the dope away for free. That's how they got everybody hooked on Mexican dope. And I'll never forget this. I was interviewing a gal and she said, "It tastes like shit, but it's free." Now let me fast forward. I'm with DEA 3 years ago, and I'm one of the first national journalists on the ground in Kensington, which if you've not looked up Kensington, you got to do it because it's a human tragedy what's taking place there. You know how the Mexicans took over that, specifically Chapo Guzman? Historically, the Colombians had always moved heroin into that area of Pennsylvania. In 2010, 2012, Chapo Guzman and his people began moving in, and they gave away their dope for free. They kind of took over the street market. They really have corner crews there. And then when fentanyl came on board around 2016, they started giving away for free. So when you came to get your heroin, you got fentanyl for free. That's how they do this. The problem is the American public is never told this story.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, a lot of people were expecting retribution from these cartels. Oh, you better watch out. The cartels are going to do stuff on American soil. The cartels are going to do something to the American embassy. The cartels are going to... They're not that stupid because they're dealing with Trump. They give him a reason and he's going to squash them like bugs. He's going to make this Iran thing look like a walk in the park. That's why you're not seeing a lot out of these drug cartels. Because Mexico's been told, you better contain it and take care of it, or we will. So that still may blow up. I'm hearing stuff that, they're running shine bomb or whatever. But I think we're going to see a lot more action besides Iran. And I was talking about Ahmadinejad, that I was glad to see him get vaporized, because he was involved in the hostage crisis in '79. And I never thought I'd see him get, I thought I would until Trump had the election stolen. And I thought, well, Ahmadinejad is, because I believe this whole thing, all these intricate webs go to the Muslim Brotherhood. A lot of people want to throw it in the laps of Israel and Zionists. You know, Zionist is never mentioned in the Bible, okay? It's a term that's made up, a modern day term. But anyway, all these webs are going to the Muslim Brotherhood, okay? It's been that way since the 1940s. And that, I guess, leads me to, I really don't want to play it because, like with Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, I don't know, maybe there's a method to their madness. I don't know. Sometimes with Candace Owens, I think she took an egg beater, stuck it in her ear hole, and started cranking the handle. Okay? Took an egg beater, stuck it in her ear hole, and started cranking the handle, and then talking while she's cranking the handle. I don't know. But then again, there's a lot of stuff I say. People think I got scrambled brains too. But anyway, here's Tucker Carlson talking about an alleged bust of Mossad agents. Okay? Have you all heard, other than Tucker Carlson, have you heard this, what he's saying being reported anywhere?
So it's probably hasn't been reported, but it's a fact that last night in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, authorities arrested Mossad agents planning on committing bombings in those countries. Now, that's weird. That doesn't make any sense. Why would the Israelis be committing bombings in two Gulf countries, which are also being attacked by Iran? Aren't they on the same side? No. Israel wants to hurt Iran and Qatar and UAE and Saudi and Bahrain and Oman and Kuwait. And they've succeeded.
Well, that's a awful smug way of saying you have all the answers. That the people that you're talking about were actually Mossad. And I hate to say this, and I like Tucker Carlson for a long time. I still do. And I don't know what his motivation is. But when you get into the world of CIA, or I should have said C.I.A. and Mossad, and any other intelligence agency, things are not always as they seem. Okay? And what you're told could be a big raft of BS. And we know that members of the C.I.A. and the FBI, high-ranking members, plotted to destroy Donald Trump's presidency. Does that mean all Americans are bad? So what are you saying, Tucker? You know, people take things the wrong way sometimes. You may not have meant to say that Jewish people and Israeli people are the problem. But that's what people get out of what you just said. And you could be wrong. You could be wrong. You don't know what those operatives were doing. You don't know what they had. There have been operations where we've gone in to friendly countries carrying explosives, things that we would need to do to get rid of something to help a country. But you got to do it under the table. You don't know what operation they were working. So to put out this information and say, well, Israel just wants to hurt everybody. Why are you doing that? Maybe he's part of an operation I don't know. I don't know about. It just doesn't make sense. But we have enough black hats in our agencies, in our country, in our school system. But you can't sit there and say that America wants to hurt everybody, just like you can't say that about the Jewish people, because they got their own black hats. Okay? Black hats are everywhere. This operation is about exposing them, finding them, and purging them. So I don't know why he's talking so flippant about it, why he's got that little smile at the end and so smug. We're dealing with very dangerous stuff right now. And I always said, don't have that broad brush about any group of people, whether it's Jewish people or Americans or whatever. Never have a broad brush. And never judge them by the people who claim to be their leaders or claim to be authorities. So anyway, yeah, he exaggerated the hell out of that, didn't he, Todd, about his airport situation. Mike Huckabee said something like, what did he say? He said something like, I could care less if Israel took all the land around there. He's talking about Jordan, Egypt. And Tucker Carlson went cuckoo. But, you know, it's like my dad said, I don't care who owns that sand over there. And Trump has said it himself, there's nothing over there but sand and death. So that situation is going to be settled by a higher power, much higher than even Donald Trump. And you all know who I'm talking about. It's the good Lord himself. He said, I will gather the children of Israel, okay, back to the promised land. I will gather them. He didn't say for me to go out and pull a Joshua and have the walls of any city tumble down or go to war or do anything else. He didn't say for me to do anything, for them to do anything, except spread the word to the four corners of the earth. He will gather them back. It's on his time frame. So I agree with Huckabee. It doesn't matter to me if Israel took over everything over there. If thy will be done. Hi, Roland. How you doing? Not Tucker Carlson's will or anybody else's will. Thy will be done. So anyway, I'm looking in the chat to see if anybody heard any reports about this operation getting busted that he's talking about. Mossad agents being captured, supposedly with a plan to blow up stuff. And I go on sites that cannot stand Israel. I go on sites that are friends of Israel. I go all over the place, and I hadn't heard it except for Tucker Carlson. Be careful what you repeat, Tucker. So anyway, what's this a picture of? Let's see. What is this? Oh, Ilhan Omar and AOC. There's AOC and somebody. What is that, a new boyfriend? Let me see. Christina Guaya. She's a good one to keep up with. She talks about stories people ignore. AOC's deputy chief of staff is reportedly a former illegal immigrant. A former illegal immigrant named Akhtar Noreen. This is the second illegal migrant AOC hired. The first one self-deported. Look, he's wearing pink pants. Noreen, a, quote, formerly undocumented immigrant, according to AOC, makes more than $134,000 every year from the U.S. taxpayer. Akhtar was born in Bangladesh before immigrating to the United States. You know, he washes his feet at your salad bar. Believes in a six-armed god or goddess of destruction or whatever they believe in, turtle gods or whatever. The term, quote, formerly undocumented, implies Akhtir came into the country or remained in the U.S. without legal authorization, meaning at some point she was an illegal immigrant. Critics are now calling for an investigation, saying illegal migrants should not be rewarded with citizenship or a taxpayer-funded job. This isn't the first incident for AOC. Let me get rid of this one and put up the next page. As another aide, Diego de la Vega, who was AOC's Deputy Communications Director. Oh, I thought that was Ilhan Omar. That was the first one. Now the guy with the pink pants on is a different story. Oh, my goodness. Who's AOC Deputy Communications Director and an illegal migrant self-deported to Colombia in 2024. De la Vega, originally from Ecuador, overstayed a visitor visa after arriving in 2001 and worked on AOC's re-election campaign before joining her staff. So she was harboring an illegal, which is a felony. He left the country after President Donald Trump started cracking down on illegal migration and started his deportation operation. House rules require that all employees are U.S. citizens or lawful permanent residents with work authorization. Oh, like those two brothers that, what's her name, hired? What was the name of those two brothers that stole like two Pakistanis? That Debbie Wasserman Schultz hired, Dalwani brothers or something like that. AOC's office expenditures have come under fire, as recent reports reveal that nearly $500,000 was spent on staff and salaries in a single quarter. So it's $2 million a year for AOC to tear down our country and undermine our president. AOC's district in New York has one of the highest percentage of non-citizens in the state, around 20%. Anybody going to do anything about it? I doubt it. Well, not right away. Something will be done about it. I'm just looking through the chat to see if I missed anything. Let's see. Excuse me, folks. Changing weather. Spring's going to get ready to sprung. And I'm going to be so happy when it gets warm, I just might wet my plants. My plants. I might grow some peppers this year. U.S. Air Force Technical Sergeant assigned to NATO just put her career in serious jeopardy after making a video undermining the United States, the military operation in Venezuela, calling the commander-in-chief Cheeto, and saying she must apologize to 20 nations on his behalf over Iran. That's why I was saying, folks, we don't know about this shoot-down deal. Who's to blame for the shoot-down? Was it Kuwaitis or was it one of these nitwits that was put in a position of trust? But anyway, I'll let her tell it. Should these people be allowed to stay in the military?
came together what NATO is and what it stands for, I'll be happy to tell you. So I work for NATO here in Italy. What NATO is NATO came together after World War II. And they pretty much is a series of countries that said a fight with one is a fight with all of us. So the goal was to prevent anything like World War II from happening again. A lot of countries didn't join World War II right away. They're like, not my country, not my problem, till eventually it spoiled over, became everybody's problem, it became a world problem, and certain countries were forced to get involved because they were attacked. So long story short, we're not going to do that again. If you fight with one of us, you fight with all of us, because we can't allow someone that amount of power and that amount of damage around the world. So that was the point of NATO. The USA being one of the original initiators of NATO, with Italy, with the UK, and a few other countries as well. Now, mind you, there's a lot of countries in NATO now. More and more people are joining. I mean, hell, Sweden joined. Sweden, the country that's never been to war, joined NATO. Now, now, we thought NATO was, for the most part, kind of coming together because Russia's trying to take over Ukraine. Ukraine is doing deals with NATO. NATO is supporting. Ukraine is not in NATO. That's why they haven't been involved. But nonetheless, a fight with one is a fight with all. And that's the stance on NATO. US being a big part of that, saying, you know what, yeah, we're in this together. We are a team. And if anyone fucks with one of us, they fuck with all of us. And I love that. I love that for us. Now, the US going to attack NATO, we're in NATO is absolutely everything we stand for. And I don't understand it. Not a fan. I'm not a fan. It's a little embarrassing. If you're not embarrassed, then, you fucking should be. But yeah, NATO is amazing and it's a wonderful thing and it's something that we need to stay. Here's the other part of that. There is no country, America specifically, right? America is not self-sustaining. I don't understand why people are so against us working with other countries. We depend on it. Financially, economically, America is amazing because its ability to import and export. I don't know if you know that, but America is not self-sustaining, babe.
I'm just interrupting her. See how ignorant this is? She's putting her loyalties to NATO. She's act like she's a soldier of NATO, and she's so ignorant, and I don't mean that as an insult. Ignorant means you're uninformed. That she's saying America is not self-sustaining. You all just saw where the UN is begging for money because Trump is pulling the plug. We've been holding up the war, everything. We've been holding up the whole damn mess. NATO can't exist. NATO and the UN can't exist without us. We are self-sustaining. That's why they couldn't stand it. That's why they had to come in and pass a individual income tax on citizens to put us under government control and fear of arrest at any time. Because we were independent and self-sustaining, and we are independent and self-sustaining. But anyway, she's going to get to where she's insulting Trump and talking smack about Venezuela. So she's no brain surgeon, that's for sure.
We don't have the resources to uphold our lifestyle. Fun fact, most countries don't. China exports and imports, right? Everybody exports and imports. You can't go around burning bridges. It's not effective for your own country and your own economy. Read a fucking book, but the whole just taking over Venezuela, internationally illegal, right? Against international law. Not being a team player here. So yeah, geopolitics. America's not self-sustaining. The reason we are as amazing as we are is because we have the ability to outsource and resource. And that's how you get to a better economic state, is by making better deals with other countries, saying, hey, I need this stuff. Let's cut a deal, my friend. I give you this and you give me that. That's smart business. That's what smart business people do. Not going over with your big guns and demanding. You sound like a spoiled rich brat that just wants what they want when they want it, and that's not effective for anybody. So yeah, fun fact, America's not self-sustaining. So we are losing friends at a rapid fucking rate. We are losing friends and we are losing support, and our economy is going to plummet if we don't figure it out. So yeah, that's my take on geopolitics. We need each other, and we need to do a better job at mending those relationships. So I'm going to go in here and just apologize on the Cheetos' behalf in my meeting today with about 20, 30 fucking countries. But
gonna apologize on Cheeto's behalf. Talking about geopolitics, she couldn't run an outhouse. Okay, she knows about as much as about business as that cat out on the porch. She doesn't know squat. Be friends with China, import, export, read a book. What the hell is she talking about? Our manufacturing's been destroyed. We're relying on cheap crap from a country that is communist and has slave labor, okay? And we're sending all our money over there. People don't have jobs here. They end up out in the street. They end up like dumb kids in the basement playing video games all day. They don't know how to change oil in the car. They don't know how to do anything. And she's going to tell everybody to read a book. Read a book. What can you do? What kind of business can you run? Nothing. You know, when you think of this relationship with China, they sell us stuff that lasts maybe 6 months, maybe a year, made out of plastic, cheap tin and metal that disintegrates. They send us barges with tons of material on them. Our money goes that way. Their barges full of crap come this way. We're a landfill for cheap Chinese garbage. That's what we are, a landfill. All that raw material, talk about microplastics. And does she know anything about when they sent the dog food over, the pet food over that was poisoned pets? She know anything about the drywall that was coming over, and millions of homes were built with this inferior drywall that could have black mold grow in it at the snap of a finger, and dumping steel into our markets that we built battleships with that are substandard and rusted and rotting in the water as I speak. What a nitwit. That's right, Sparky. Product of the public school system. We're on stolen land, and we need to get along with our neighbors. We need to turn into a landfill for China and send our money over there. And they'll keep the money, and they'll give their citizens a bowl of rice. And if they're lucky, they won't get their organs sold. But anyway, here's Hegseth. I got 2 clips from him, updates on Iran.
To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president. He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite. This operation is a clear, devastating, decisive mission. Destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes. Israel has clear missions as well, for which we are grateful. Capable partners, as we've said since the beginning, capable partners are good partners. Unlike so many of our traditional allies who wring their hands and clutch their pearls, hemming and hawing about the use of force. America.
Clutching their pearls, hemming and hawing. I wish I got that one clip about him talking about the warrior ethos. The warrior ethos. And maybe he talks a little bit about it here. But she does not have the warrior ethos, okay? She thinks she's a social worker in uniform. But anyway, here's another clip from Hegseth.
President Trump puts America and Americans first. He doesn't hesitate, and neither do our troops. The mission of Operation Epic Fury is laser focused. Destroy Iranian offensive missiles, destroy Iranian missile production, destroy their navy and other security infrastructure, and they will never have nuclear weapons. We're hitting them surgically, overwhelmingly, and unapologetically.
That's right. Can you imagine these mullahs with atomic bombs? They would use them. They would use them. It was just like what they were saying after World War II. If Adolf, okay, I got to watch what I say. Adolf had those weapons. Do you realize how many people would have perished? You can't let a fanatic be in charge of weapons like that. Could destroy the human race, period. And they've done nothing but say that. Now they're talking about wanting to go to have Congress put some kind of limitations on Trump through War Powers Act. Good luck with that. Trump hadn't done anything in violation of any international law, any U.S. law. He's exercising power of president. But here's a clip from Nancy from years ago.
So, Madam Speaker, or Madam Leader, you're saying that the president did not need authorization initially and still does not need any authorization from Congress on Libya?
Yes.
Thank you both.
Thank you all very much.
Real simple. He doesn't need authorization, and she concurred. It was okay for Obama, wasn't it? What's this one? Mike Halpern spent several hours at Mar-a-Lago over the weekend to understand President Trump's thinking on Iran. Trump is doing this, I'm quite certain, because he doesn't want to have the Iranian threat, terror, ballistic missiles, or nuclear around on his watch. I'll play the clip, let him tell it. Who's this guy? Let me see. Mark Halpern. Okay. Got to get the names right. Let's see.
Okay. If I leave you with no other thought from this hour we spent together, Donald Trump is doing this, I'm quite certain, because he doesn't want to have the Iranian threat, terror, ballistic missiles, nuclear. He doesn't want to have it around on his watch. He didn't stop it on his first term, and he watched all of his predecessors do basically nothing effective to stop Iran. That is why Donald Trump is doing this, I am quite certain. Now, you may not like the fact that he didn't consult with Congress. You may not like the fact that it was a war of choice. You may question the timing. You may question some of the tactics. But I think you'd be making a mistake if you questioned what he's trying to do here, okay? What he's trying to do is not end his presidency with Iran as a threat to the world, to Israel, to the Middle East, to the United States, okay? I'm quite confident that that's true. So you can go on MS Now or Heather Cox Richardson or Twitter, and you can read people speculating about why he's doing it, but I don't believe they're correct. Now, I want to quote one thing right off the top here that you might say could undermine a lot of the whole program. From Neil Ferguson, who writes now for the Free Press, one of the smartest people I've ever met, truly. And Neil wrote a long essay about this invasion, this military action. And just one sentence, if you put up, please, that 130. It is a foolish commentator who attempts to pass definitive judgment on a major military operation while it is still underway. I'll read it again. It is foolish. It is a foolish commentator who attempts to pass definitive judgment on a major military operation while it is still underway. Neil Ferguson, writing in the Free Press. Neil's correct, and I don't want to be foolish. I don't want Neil to think I'm foolish. So I'm going to not pass definitive judgment. It's going pretty well so far. 3 Americans have died. Some Israelis have died. It's not perfect. There might have been a terrorist attack linked to the response in Austin, Texas. It's not perfect. War is never perfect. But it's going pretty well, and I'll talk about the ways I think it's going well in just a moment. But
I do not want you
to think that we know where this goes.
Well, nobody wants to put their foot in their mouth. Things can always go south with war. And I've talked about the specter, the fear, and a valid concern is, do they have hypersonic missiles that we would have a very difficult time intercepting? Did they get them all? If they do, is there a battle in Iraq for leadership that is holding them back from using those hypersonic missiles? I mean, that'd be a heck of a note to see an alert on television that something happened to the Abraham Lincoln or the SS Gerald Ford, USS Gerald Ford. Well, I mean, horrible. Okay. Nice to see you here, Bob. We're staying on topic, okay? When are you gonna start healing with your Holy Spirit power? Who's got Holy Spirit powers? Holy cow! Raise the dead, heal all sickness. No poisons will harm you. I don't know what's going on about, Bob, but welcome aboard. And we're talking about what's going on in Iran and the world, big picture. So anyway, here's a clip. Let me see what this is. Jim Acosta sees the left's massive media advantage slipping away, and he doesn't like it one bit. This goes back to can't ignore anymore. Okay? They're losing their control of the narrative, their power to ignore. You got booted out, Acosta. Now you got to watch. You got to watch people being able to hear the truth for once.
Do we want Scott Jennings anchoring the CBS Evening News or anchoring AC 360?
Yes.
Donald Trump is, and how he's the best president since George Washington and Abraham Lincoln? Well, I mean, what kind of crazy, Stranger Things upside down world are we going to become if that's the kind of news and information that we have pumping out over the airwaves in this country? It sounds to me that that's exactly what Donald Trump wants. All you have to do is go inside his twisted mind. I mean, just the other day, he was tweeting about sending a hospital boat to Greenland. He can't even stay awake at his own events. And this is the guy who's gonna cow these giant media properties into combining into one another and becoming propaganda arms of his administration. I mean, what kind of crazy 1984 shit is this?
Poor baby. What's the matter? Trump was going to he did send a hospital ship to Greenland. So what? The man's been up, we know, at times for 24 hours a day. He's pushing 80 years old. He gives speeches Joe Biden could have never given. His mental acuity is unquestioned. But they try to keep that narrative going. What's going on with Bob? Bob, where are you? The internet is a big place. I don't know you and you don't know me. So I don't know who I'm talking to. I hope you're fine. I hope you're not trying to insult people that you never met or don't want to be part of our discussion, or maybe you have hostile thoughts in your mind for some reason. I don't know what your life experience has been, but one thing you could try to do is listen to what's going on, put comments in that are germane to the discussion that may help us all understand this big old world we live in and make some friends. Yeah, Sparky, his hair is like a Cupid doll. And I never claim to, what are you saying? Heal the sick, or what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I have enough trouble Jesus said this temple won't stand. No future Herod temple went down in 70 AD. That's right. Jesus gave it back to God. That's right. God gave Jesus is God. Okay, the Trinity. Okay. Yeah, Jesus came to fulfill prophecies, to fulfill. And he didn't come to unite people. He came to divide them, the wheat from the chaff. Okay, well, whatever. Have a good time in chats, Bob. You're not saying anything to harm anybody, so if you want to pontificate on the word, your thoughts on the word. Did I play this one already? Let me see. Here's another one from Hagseth. Another one from Hagseth. I rely on the words, thy will be done. I do my best. It's when I went to school. When I went to school, I had to go to school with the nuns. I was a bad boy. But anyway, we had a motto every morning. I'll try my hardest and do my best. Almighty God will do the rest. And that's the way I go through life. But anyway, here's another clip of Hagseth.
To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president. He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite. This operation is a clear, devastating, decisive mission. Destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes.
Yeah, their Navy's wiped out. Their Parliament building's wiped out. All the ships are at the bottom of the sea. They don't have any naval bases left. Bob, I want to ask you something, Bob. You're saying we should be in the hospitals healing everybody. How come you're not in the hospital here healing everybody? Are you saying, what are you saying? I'll be interested to see what you have to say about that. Man, he's bouncing around the Epstein files, the Bible, the temple, healing the sick. Bob, are you drinking? So anyway, let Bob have fun. Anyway, let's see. Here's a clip. Let me play this clip. I didn't get all these clips to not play them. Hagseth on war. This is not Iraq. This is not endless. Yeah, it's going to end. The Iranians have to get a mutually agreed upon leader that's going to come to the table, make peace, and open the doors to the international community to make sure they don't try to acquire nuclear weapons. Period. That's what's going to have to happen, or they'll get destroyed.
Asked the president if the U.S. was doing more than these military strikes to help the Iranian people regain control of Iran against the regime, to seize the country from the Iranian regime. And he said, yes, the president said, yes, we are indeed. But right now we want everyone staying inside. It's not safe out there. And then the president said, it's about to get even less safe. He said, quote, we haven't even started hitting them hard. The big wave hasn't even happened. The big one is coming soon. We asked him about a bunch of other stuff, too, that I'm writing up, and we'll share later on The Lead at 5 p.m.
So there's going to be even bigger strikes happening. Bigger strikes. Here we got some guys standing at a map. What's going on? What are they talking about? Holy cow. Let me get everything on the screen here. Brett Baer? Who's that? No, that's not Brett Baer. Let me see who it is.
Doing here, Kuwait looks as though through their missile defense has taken out 2 of our planes. You'll see some of that video shortly. They've done that. Thankfully, our pilots are okay, but this is the type of mass coordination that has to be pulled off. You got armies in these Arab states. They have their own missile defense. We have our units. And on the other side, you also have Israel working. So the coordination's got to be exquisite.
I guess they were talking about the planes getting shot down. They attacked our embassy in Saudi Arabia, but to hear Tucker Carlson tell it, it could have been by the JEWs. Come on, Tucker, settle down. Hi, Mike, how you doing? That's right, Todd. The angels in heaven don't even know. And Jesus himself does not know. Only the Father. Oh, here's a good clip of the spew. And they got the conservative lady on there. What's her name? But anyway, they say, I haven't watched it yet. They said she set them straight. Let's see. We'll watch it together.
You know, I look at Donald Trump and I look at Netanyahu and I see 2 leaders who I think politically they benefit from war. Netanyahu is facing criminal charges for corruption back home. Donald Trump is facing very low numbers and Epstein files that are not, and we will not let go away.
I do think it's threefold. One, we have 47 million Iranian women who now have a hope of freedom. That's a good thing, okay? We have an disgusting terrorist regime ended, and the people finally have hope to create their own nation again. Okay, so that's the hope. When we zoom out in geopolitical realm, okay, which is not my specialty either, but I have a ton of friends in the military who specialize in this. We see that this is actually avoiding a boots-on-the-ground war with China when we are able to choke their oil supply, and the president and our military are exemplary in doing so right now. They've cut the oil supply from Venezuela, and they've now reduced it and choked the oil supply to China in Iran. And now what that does is presumably prevent China from having an absolute stronghold on the globe. So this is a strategic move geopolitically that we may not fully understand, but I absolutely trust that this is best for our nation, and we should be America first.
Yeah, she's telling it like it is, but Ana Navarro is giving away the lefties' game, which is a weak game. We're not going to let the Epstein files go. Well, I bet you Bill wishes you'd let them go because we don't care about the Epstein files. The only time Trump is mentioned is when they're plotting on how to unseat him. And it may be even worse than that. They may be planning on doing him or his family harm. That's why he's mentioned so much. But anyway, here's a longer clip of Wild Bill. Yeah, Bob, you're going off the deep end. You're welcome. You're welcome to talk about the Bible and stuff. But I tell you what, Bob, start your own program, okay? And don't interrupt mine with a chat. Well, I hate to put it this way, but I call it chat fart. You're farting in the chats, verbal, intellectual farts that make no sense or are not germane to our topic. So quit chat farting. Settle down, make some friends. Are you an atheist? Because you keep saying your Bible, your Bible. Are you an atheist, Bob? Anyway, here's Bill Clinton, if anybody cares what he's got to say.
And what we're trying to get at is some context for the public on whether you remember this photo and any details you may be able to provide us about it. So do you recall the details of this photo, or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this pic, and I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway, this picture was taken in Brunei. And we flew one night on a trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we. Is it who is that including?
Well, my TIL team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and Miss Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one, and the Sultan of Brunei was a man that I had gotten to know well in my 8 years as president. And his first involvement with international matters was basically to join the Asian Pacific Economic Leaders Conference, which I started and which he attended. And then he was very proud of that, and he hosted, his time came to host it. You know, you do these things in rotation. And it came either at the very end of my term or maybe in the next year. Anyway, he wanted, when he knew I was coming, and he said he wanted to help me with my AIDS initiative, and he invited me to stay there. And he said, I want you to stay at this hotel, and I hope you'll use the pool. So I did, and then I got out and went to bed, exhausted.
Just for the record, there's another picture that also shows this as part of the larger pool area. Do you all have that so that he can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
We should have it. It's quite enlightening. If you watch this,
Yes, it's no.
it'll give you a different feel.
Thank you.
Okay.
We do have it. We don't have it with us right now.
Okay,
We do.
thanks. I just
have
wanted
it
to
as
make
well.
sure he knew the
And so
context.
were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I didn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about.
Well, there's
He's asking in the pool
It appears
area.
this photo. There's a girl over here, or there's someone.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
But he's also asking in the pool area were there other
Yes,
individuals?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know.
No, and then there were other people in the pool.
Okay, so do you remember who? Were they under 18? Would you
No.
know? No.
Were they part of your traveling party, he's asking you?
Yes, they were, I think. I think everybody there was part of our party. It was late at night or late-ish, and I also believe that there was a Secret Service agent there at the other end of the pool.
Okay, and was this in public?
No, it was a hotel room, and the Sultan wanted us to stay there, and the water, this big pool, was on the same floor that there were several suites, and so we went out, I swam around, I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got up and went to bed.
And then I have to ask this: did you engage in any sexual activity
No.
with this person? Okay, thank you.
Okay, and that ends this round, and we can go off the.
I think he's trying to play it off like he's losing his mind, like his memory's going. I don't know who that is. And then the lawyer said, oh, was it somebody on staff? Oh, yeah, it was somebody on my staff. We thought you didn't know who it was, Bill. Was they underage? Oh, no, wasn't underage. Yeah, Bill could have cared less. Oh, Bob's history. Bob, against my... Oh, I didn't say that. Yeah, he just wouldn't behave, so he had to go. Bob had to go. Sorry, but not sorry. Anyway, Russian news put this out about Trump. I haven't seen it on any lefty news sites, But if there's anything to it, you will see it on lefty news sites, even if there is nothing to it. A noticeable red mark, similar to a rash on Trump's neck today. That could be from 48 hours of wearing a damn collared shirt. But anyway, it's that wonder. I've taken a look at it. But anyway, so yeah, people be jumping up and down about that. Hopefully, there's nothing to that of any seriousness. Donald Trump posted this again today. Free Tina Peters. I think that's his way of keeping everybody on their toes. That's right, Rain. It could have been too much starch in his collar. I used to wear a collared shirt 7 days a flipping week back in my salad days. And you would get, especially if you had starch in your collar, you get a rash around your neck. Have to wear a tie. I used to have a tie bar. Wear a tie. Let me put this creature back up so you all realize what you're dealing with in the news. Hi, Bambi. Yeah, Rain, you didn't miss too much. Hi, Colette. Oh, we had somebody pontificating and preaching. I couldn't make heads or tails of it. Wouldn't answer the question. He seemed to have an issue with the Bible. Donald Trump posted this without a comment. And I haven't watched it yet. But Larry Kudlow, I like listening to Larry Kudlow, but Trump posted this today about, 4 hours ago. Let's see what the point of this video is.
Now, there are many, many reasons to end the Iranian regime. Take out their nuclear capability, take out their missile building, their terror financing, their entire military. But at the end of the day, I believe President Trump's epic fury is about restoring civilized value and civilized behavior in the Middle East. My friend Conrad Black, writing in the New York Sun, puts it this way. Let me quote. The world's foremost terrorism-sponsoring state is about to cease to exist, and the war on terror that was unofficially launched on September 11th, 2001, in the ashes of the World Trade Center will substantially be won. Well done. And this is no forever war, as Trump critics keep complaining, but the scale and scope of geopolitical change because of Mr. Trump's courage is almost intellectually immeasurable, while all the Gulf states are behind him, and even the large European nations reluctantly supporting. We have heard nary a peep from China or Russia. They're the big losers in America's epic fury. China will lose its cheap, heavily priced, discounted oil. Russia will lose its Iranian-made drones. Both countries will have lost all of their Middle East influence. Meanwhile, a very similar story of Sino-Russian lost influence is occurring in South America with Mr. Trump's path-breaking move in Venezuela. And after watching the use of America's military might, I would think China will surely be thinking twice or maybe 5 times more about invading Taiwan. Finally, President Trump issued a very clear message to the people of Iran that a historic moment of freedom is there if they can seize it. Take a listen, please.
Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is.
This is a clip that they took over Iranian television, and they played this clip over and over and over again on Iranian television. Ha ha ha.
Close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass.
Yes, yes, indeed. The battle is always about freedom and liberty for mankind. There is nothing more important. Bravo, President Trump.
All right, now we know why he posted this clip. So, yeah, all the stations in Iran were playing that message from Trump simultaneously. There's Miss Menderson giving booms in the chats. I put a link for buy me a coffee in the chats at the 143, 144 mark. Kapow! Kaboom! And I want to thank Younger Gang and Wayne for helping out this week. I'll give 2 booms for that. Pow! Kaboom! For helping out the chat. As I've said before, make sure you give me a thumbs up because this is a totally viewer-supported channel. And I have a link for Buy Me a Coffee. Anybody wants to help the channel out. So anyway, on to the next item. You know, it was 8, I believe 8 members of the CIA that were in a hotel when it blew up. Of course, that's not being publicly reported, but I believe it is it to be true, right? And that's not going to be put out very much. Here's something that Russian news put up. What in the world is that? Who's that? Does anybody know who this is? You know, like I said, the internet's a big place. It could be Bob for all I know. No, let's see who it is. Bahraini foreign minister threatens to swallow Iranian missiles. So they got a little bit of humor going on. A little bit of humor. Man, people going to bed already? What in the world? Huh. Well, thank you, Roland. Let me put a boom up there for you. Kaboom! It goes to Roland. I don't have anything popping up on the screen. Sometimes it pops up and lets me know, and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what to make of that. But I'm at the past the 145 mark. There you go. Miss Menderson gave you a bunch of booms. I've got this video here. Let's see what this is. Los Angeles School District is paying tens of millions of dollars in claims for child molestation. I have to say it that way because of trust and... all right, Sparky did too. And I'll say kaboom! Union is so strong, the offending teachers can't be fired. Everything helps, Roland. I do appreciate it. So anyway, I am going to play this clip. Who is this? Anybody in the chats know who this person is? Oh, that's that Oh, this is Adam Carolla. This is Adam Carolla. Anyway, he's reporting on it. Again, another celebrity that is helping out with Truth and Reconciliation, part of the Great Awakening, letting people know how far things have gone. Taxpayers losing millions of dollars, and you can't even fire these people. What does that article say up there? LAUSD borrowed $250 million to settle S3X abuse claims on top of whatever. Let's see what Adam Carolla's got to say. I'll go ahead and play this report from Adam Carolla. I want to thank you all for spending your precious time with me tonight. I do hope you enjoy this clip. And you know what? You can share little clips from my live stream anywhere you want. And I don't know if I'll get a copyright on this or not. So If you're watching after the live stream and it is gone, you'll know that I got in trouble. Ha ha ha. So also remember to give me a thumbs up, help the video get around. Once again, thank you for spending your precious time with me. Enjoy this clip. You all have a great night. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
There was this big thing with the LAUSD school board where there's like $1 billion. They're constantly being sued because they have these pedophile teachers and they can't get rid of them because the union, the school board union, the teachers union is so powerful that they literally can't fire horrible teachers and ones that get caught in pedophilia. So they take them and they shift them to the shitty neighborhoods where the people don't complain, like speak Spanish mostly, and the kids, mom and dad work all day. They literally take the shit teachers and they ship them off to where the poor people are.
Like the Catholic Church used to send bad priests to Arizona.
Right. And then they continue, except for now with people that can't lawyer up sort of situation. But I'll play you the clip, the news clip, and then I'll tell you my solution.
Okay.
LA Unified School Board is borrowing another $250 million in bonds to settle claims of sexual misconduct. These latest bonds are in addition to the $500 million authorized less than a year ago. This is according to the LA Times. The extra money is needed because of a bill that extended the statute of limitations for filing civil lawsuits regarding childhood sexual abuse. The total cost, including financing, is expected to exceed $1 billion. The money will be paid out of the district's general fund over the next decade or so.
By the way, I love that notion that we just got to raise taxes so we can cover all these expenses. Like, how about we reel it in a little with the molestation and the lawsuits and the, bullet train to nowhere and the fraud and the daycares and all of that. How about we tighten our belt a little bit instead of asking everyone for fucking more money every 10 seconds?